It's time for Chair Chat with Mary. We've got our big comfy blankie, and we are all set to have a good time and a pleasant chat for the evening. Let's hope somebody comes in and visits with us. Today we finished a wreath in our craft room. The ever evasive puffy wreath. I say finished even though I think I might go back and put a bow on it. I have gold glitter ribbon, and I think I might do a bow on it. I think that would look pretty. So that's what I did in the house today. Nothing too exciting. Um, it's very cold here still. It's about 16 degrees right now. Um, there's really nothing to do but try and stay warm and just make it through the winter. But spring is coming in just a few days, and that'll be nice. Well, March 21st, which is less than a month away. Um, but I don't mind the snow. The cold is what gets me, because it makes the old joints hurt a little bit, so it can get rough. But summer's coming, and hopefully by summer, good things will come, as they often do. Do any of you have Snuggies? If you have Snuggies, I want to know if you like them, if they were worth the money, if they're big enough. Because I like this blanket, but the only thing is it makes it hard to use your arms. And so then I have to get out of something, and it's just complicated. So there's that. As I said earlier today, I took a YouTube creator survey, and um, they had things that I didn't know existed, like I forget what they were. I should have written them down. Like YouTube creator videos and stuff, and it would have been helpful to know that information. So I expressed my extreme discontent for the algorithm as well. So I doubt it'll make any difference, but just so they know that I don't like the algorithm. So I'm going to need to make more content in terms of videos and shorts. I'm still not very familiar with that, and I haven't put much effort into learning how to do them more. I'm pretty comfortable with making a short, but a more long form video, I've not attempted to do that. And I think I have done one for like a food review, but I don't have like a formal editing system or anything like that. And so these are all things I need to work on if this is going to be what I do. I'm honestly more comfortable going live though. I know that sounds odd, but I prefer the not cleaned up, tidied up version of things because, especially with crafting, you know, I feel like when you're watching a how to video, it's not always showing you the difficult part of crafting. And so that's why I wanted to do live streaming because I want people to see that, hey, sometimes things don't work out and sometimes you have to pivot and do something different. Like, I've seen so many people be able to do that Mod Podge thing where you mod decoupage, Mod Podge, whatever you want to call it, where you put paper on top of the wood thing. Well, when I tried to execute it myself, I couldn't get it to work. Or there was difficulty like the other day with the fire. But I just kind of think people would appreciate seeing the more realistic side of crafting and see that even if things are difficult, you can finish and you can make something pretty. Um, I have a lot of opinions about crafting, and you know, I know a lot of people do different things, but I admit I'm going at it at a much harder place, trying to use what I have in front of me and not buy anything different. But um, also, it's kind of helping me be a little more creative and use what I have versus nothing at all. But um, when money is as tight as it's been for me because I've not been able to work, crafting is not as, I don't want to say it's not a priority, it is, but with a much more limited budget than when I used to have my paycheck to go wild with after the bills, even though I never really did go all that wild with crafting supplies. Because back then, my room was an absolute disaster. Like, it was all the way up to the ceiling. And now at least I can work in there, but it's still not perfect. There's still things I need and want to do. And, you know, executing them in, in light of my current physical state isn't always the easiest. So I also like to talk about that too and about how I manage with my altered physical state. And the more I think about it, the more in summertime I want to be able to show people you can still have a good time, even if you can't move like everyone else. So, hello, welcome in. I hope you're having a good evening. And I think if I'm a little more open with how I do things with my current state of affairs, I think that it may help somebody. And if not, it's kind of my story and my experience. So I think it's worth telling. And so that's my plan for my channel moving forward is once the weather gets better, I plan on kind of doing a little more outdoors stuff in addition to the crafting. But if I had to pick a main direction for my channel, I would say it's a crafting channel. But It's a crafting and review channel. But um, I have some behind the scenes work I need to do before I do additional things. So I'm definitely trying to chip away at that little by little. And still trying to learn videos and all of that stuff. So if anybody has any suggestions, I'm more than open to hearing them. Um, I definitely. Oops. Oh, nope, I put it on. I always can't remember if I put on. I don't like that things automatically go to top message is and not all messages because I want to see what everyone has to say, even if it's less than positive. I'd rather hear what everyone has to say. And meanwhile, I'm still learning how to do certain things on live streaming as well. But live streaming, I think, has been a more positive experience. Um, I'm still working on getting comfortable on camera. I've noticed when I craft, I stop talking, and you really can't do that. But if I notice that my little audience indicator is at 0, it's kind of hard for me to keep chatting away into the abyss. But it makes a difference if I can see one person's in here, then it makes me want to talk, or it makes me get more creative with what I'm trying to say. And so it's good. They should always have a 1 on there so you feel like somebody's in there with you because it makes a difference. It really does. But also, I lurk in a lot of live streams too, and I don't always talk. And there, I usually say my initial hello, and then from there, Um, I don't always talk as much, but I've just been trying to watch as many different styles of videos and kind of see what I like to watch and then try to tailor my own style to something that I would watch if I were scrolling through YouTube. And I've noticed a lot of the live streams I watch, I like ones where people talk about their location and different things they're doing. And I've noticed I watch a lot of cooking and a lot of crafting channels, of course. But um, those are kind of live action. So, as I said earlier, I think I'm more comfortable doing lives because I like to show the reality versus the tidied up version. Although I think I could make a pretty good tidied up version if I really put my effort into it. So I've downloaded CapCut. I took a look at TubeBuddy today, but that costs money monthly, so I don't know if that's necessarily what I want to do. Um, I haven't learned Streamlabs yet, but I kind of want to do that. I've also thought about live streaming on other platforms um, such as maybe Twitch, just to see how different it is and to see if maybe that's a better fit for my style. And uh, the YouTube survey also asked that, like, where do you see yourself live streaming more, or do you live stream other places? And The only other social media I have is Facebook, and it's more a private page, and I'm not even on it all the time anymore because it got to be pretty negative. I like to keep my media usage lighthearted, and I don't want to deal with the heaviness all the time. I don't I don't like to watch the news. I don't like to get into the politics of it all, you know, because I kind of look at it as after I cast my vote, it's out of my hands. And that's the little part I can do to control the environment. Other than that, I have absolutely no control over what happens. And I have no control over what anybody else does. The only thing I can control is what I do. And oh, honey, I've done that. I can imagine you were so frustrated and your feet were so sore. Oh, and you poor thing, you just typed all of that out too. That had to be hard. I've done that too with a whole cart of groceries and had to go back to the house. I wasn't walking, thank God, but it was still, it was hella embarrassing. And I was so embarrassed. And I used to cry when I would get frustrated like that. Oh, goodness. It's been a long day. I was talking about my audience on my 12 o'clock stream, and I said I may only have two people in my audience, but they're the best darn two people. So I'm glad to I'm glad to have my two-person audience, even if it is only two people. It makes it easier when you know someone's watching, even if for some reason nobody's commenting or whatever. I think it's easier when you know someone's watching. Please remember to hit the like button, guys. If you would do that for me, I really appreciate it. But today I'm just kind of sitting in my chair and taking it easy. I was in my craft room for an hour today, and it about killed my back. So I decided to sit in the more comfortable chair this evening. Well, that's good, Carrie. You've been a busy lady today. 2 trips to Safeway, and you still helped your neighbor. That's awesome, my friend. Very awesome. Well, hopefully you can rest your feet for the rest of the evening and take it easy. But I made a new wreath today, Carrie. You'll have to. I might do a short of it tomorrow. I'm gonna make a ribbon and finish it off. But it was the wreath I've been working on forever. Probably so. I remember years ago when I lived in North Carolina, my ex lived in like a boarding style house where it was a house and like everybody had a different room letter and like you all used the same bathroom and the same kitchen. So it was something else. It was kind of in a dangerous neighborhood. In fact, when he stayed there, um, one of the neighbors stabbed her husband. It was crazy. I hadn't thought about that place in years. But it was something. But hopefully your place is safe, unlike mine was. Have you heard? No, it isn't, Carrie. It's not an easy task to get along with people you don't know. And um, when I moved down south, everybody kind of treated me differently because I spoke differently than they did. And I was in college, so people were automatically assumed I was stuck up or something. And so some people just automatically didn't like me, which really wasn't, which I didn't understand because I was so young. I mean, that was like one of the first times I was out on my own. So I knew very little about the world and how it worked, but we all got to learn sometime, I guess. That, and I honestly prefer to live alone and have my own stuff, my own bathroom, my own kitchen. However, um, I live with my husband now, so you still have to share. Yeah, I bet it can be scary, especially when it kind of wasn't your choice, like in your situation. It definitely would be hard. But you seem like you're making the best out of it, and so I hope good things for you, Carrie. Carrie, did you go live today? I didn't get a notification, so. Huh. Well, I'm sorry I missed it. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. You know, a lot of the channels, I have my notification bells on, and I don't get a lot of notifications. I just have to keep re-scrolling and seeing who's all on. Which can be rather annoying. I forgot. Did you take the YouTube creator survey, Carrie? I think it was in Studio, if you have YouTube Studio. It was long. It took me like 15 minutes to do. It did give you spots where you could write in your own opinion, though, so that was kind of nice. Yep, there's an app called YouTube Studio, and it like shows you your watch hours, and it shows you how close you are to being monetized and what the requirements are for you to be monetized and all that jazz. And it tells you how many subscribers you have and all that. I say all that, but yeah, there were um they listed things that are available to YouTube creators in this survey that I didn't even know about. So, like, and I didn't write any of it down, of course, like a ninny. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that. Um, I looked at TubeBuddy today, Carrie, and they want $6 a month to use TubeBuddy. Is Streamlabs free, Carrie? I meant to ask you when I saw you. And is Streamlabs like an app or did you have to go to a website? Thank you for hitting the like. Hi, Bonnie. It's going pretty good today. I'm just kind of picking everyone's brain about different um different things on how people make videos and what people do live streaming. Um that's okay, Bonnie. Thank you. I forget it's dinner time over on the West Coast. It's almost bedtime here. But yep, we're just having chair chat today. Nothing too exciting. So Streamlabs was a website. Okay. Well, I'll definitely check that out more. And I don't know anything about this Nightbot I've seen everybody else use. I'll have to check into Nightbot. So that way, like, maybe it has a greeting or something like that in my when people first come in. So there's still a lot I'm trying to learn and um before I get too carried away, like I know a lot of people have an editor or stuff like that, and I'm afraid an editor just is not in the budget right now. Um, I believe Carrie said she didn't think you had to pay for Streamlabs. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna have to check it out and see. But earlier in the live, I was talking about why I prefer going live to making videos. Lettuce uses Night, or he did use Nightbot and he deleted it. So I wonder if there's a reason why you should have it or shouldn't have it, or if that affects the algorithm. When I took the YouTube creator survey today, I definitely made my feelings about the algorithm known because it's almost like they push certain things and not other things. And oh, he probably would, but I would hate to bother him. He's very busy. And I realized today in my craft video, I realize when I'm in the throes of doing the actual craft, I stop talking and I need to talk more about what I'm doing. But that's an idea. I kind of fangirl over Bob. Bob's awesome. But I would hate to bother him with anything like this. He's a busy fella. I was making a wreath and I was cutting snowflakes off of yesterday I had done decoupage or Mod Podge, and oh Bonnie, that's okay. I was doing decoupage or Mod Podge, and you're supposed to be able to burn the paper and it goes to the edge of whatever's underneath. Well, I wasn't able to make it work. I ended up burning one of my snowflakes. So then I ended up switching gears and going back in with my detail scissors and scalpel and cutting them out like that, which took a lot longer. And I didn't realize while I was doing that I had stopped talking. But it ended up turning out okay. I just think my wreath needs a bow or something else. Oh, well, I will have to. I'm kind of on a really stranglehold budget at the moment. So I kind of. I don't want to say I don't want to spend money on YouTube because if it were important enough, I could come up with it. But if I can do it without having to add a monthly payment on for something, that would be preferable. So I'm just very simply going to have to do more research. Oh, good. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you watching that for me. Yep. Well, I did the decoupage again today, and after it didn't work the first time, I I didn't want to try or after it started to not work and it burned past the edge. I decided I wanted to switch gears. And so that's why I like live streaming so people can see that, especially with crafting, not everything's perfect, because a lot of the crafters I watch, I like their videos, but it's almost like they never make a mistake and they never struggle. And so it's kind of like comparison's the thief of joy in that regard, because I compare myself to them and then I kind of, I don't want to say I feel inadequate, but I do, especially when I'm comparing myself to people who are infinitely better than I am and who are working with like the best of the best materials. And I'm kind of on a Dollar Tree budget with my materials, so it can get hard, because a lot of times there's more steps you have to take to, especially with wreath making. Wreath making is, to be honest with you, not my favorite thing to do, but I'm doing it because when my mom signed us up for the craft show, she said we did wreaths, so that's primarily what I want to focus on, but it's not my favorite thing to do, so because it can be difficult, and I would definitely say it's not one of my strengths when crafting, but I think I can make them pretty. I'm proud of what I've made so far. Like, I feel like those are adequate enough between the short I have up and, or the shorts I have up where I have my old stuff and my current stuff. I feel pretty confident that I have enough. I almost have enough for the craft show, and I I'm proud of what I do have, and I think it's good enough. Oh, cool. I love to do. There's not a lot of crafting classes in my local area, but a couple towns over there's quite a few, and I would love to do those sometimes. It looks like fun. Once you get the hang of it, it's not bad. Um, like the slipknot ones with tulle, I can do those pretty quick. But the deco mesh ones that I need to do, they can be hard. I'm sure it was probably better than you think. I I always think what I make is junk, and so, but it can't be true that everything I make is junk. So I try to just focus on the fact that it's probably better than I think it is, and I try to go from there. I forgot to put my phone on do not disturb and someone sent me a text message. I always forget to do that when I'm live. But yeah, I like to make um I had an idea in the middle of the night the other night about how I could use a bicycle wheel wreath form that I have, and I was gonna I started to work on it, but I just couldn't sit in my craft room chair anymore. So I think I'm gonna work on that tomorrow on my live stream, which is probably gonna be an hour later. Oh, I absolutely think you should finger paint and sponge paint, Carrie. I think you'd love it. And if you have like a Dollar Tree or a Dollar General near you, they have some really cheap um the Dollar General has I can't remember their brand name off the top of my head. It's in a light blue container, but they have really cheap um paints. Like, you can probably get them for less than $3, and they have sponges in the dollar section at Dollar General or Dollar Tree if you have that near you. I'm not sure what stores you guys have on the West Coast. Over here, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and even some Family Dollars still are around here. but I don't know if you guys have like Daiso or something like that. And the nice thing about sponge painting is you can reuse it. And you can cut whatever shape you want. So you can use the sponges as stamps too, in addition to just using them to paint. And Dollar General has pretty cheap, like, paint paper and sketchbooks and stuff like that, and like wood surfaces you can paint on. Dollar General and Dollar Tree have really good craft items for their location and for their price points. The only thing is, Carrie, um, when you, if you do paint and you paint with anything called acrylic paint, when you wash out your, um, when you wash out your paint, you're going to want to block off your drain and block off your drain with some paper towel and then rinse off your thing because you don't want your acrylic paint to go down your drain, especially because you run. I just found that out the other day that acrylic paint shouldn't go down a drain. Whoopsies. So if my bathroom sink clogs, we all know why. I'm lucky. I have a double-sided sink in the bathroom, so Mr. Mary has his own, and I have my own sink where I kind of use it as a utility sink more so than a beauty vanity. But I have a lot of fun painting. Painting is probably my favorite thing to do. Um, Probably making clay projects and then painting them is my favorite thing to do. And anything with pony beads is fun to make and pretty easy. In fact, I moderate on Justin Bennett Beads channel as well as a couple other channels. And his stuff's really neat. He can make out of regular bracelet beads. He's made projects like, oh, I don't have one right in front of me, but he's made like a whole horse out of the little beads, and it's just so neat. He's made a horse. He's working on Stitch right now from Lilo and Stitch. So definitely check him out if you're ever bored. It's Justin Bennett Turbo Beads on YouTube, and he has a lot of just neat stuff to look at. Yep, he's one of the other channels I watch. He has 2 or 3 jobs, so he doesn't post all the time, but um, he has a lot of really cool stuff. I also watch Kelly Barlow Creations. She's from out your guys' way. I wonder if it was Bob Ross, Carrie. I used to watch Mr. Bob Ross to go to sleep. He had a big old afro, and he would paint landscapes and stuff. I used to watch him all the time at bedtime. Oh yeah, I loved his painting. I really liked when he used like the black paints and then he would do like the Aurora Borealis. That was so cool to do. I've never been able to replicate Bob Ross's paintings, but it's definitely really relaxing to watch. I put that on sometimes when I'm having trouble sleeping. Um, in fact, right over there, I have a Bob Ross poster. I don't have my lights on though, so there's another. I can't think of the channel name, but there's another YouTube channel that I used to watch that would tape off, like they'd tape off the canvas and then do like dots down, and then by the time they were all done, they'd have this beautiful landscape or galaxy. I love the galaxy painting style. I just can't ever seem to replicate it, but I love watching people make galaxy paints. I think that's really cool. I'm definitely I'm definitely not a painter like in that respect. Or I'm not great at drawing either, but I love to watch everybody else paint and draw. I think it's so cool. I was watching um I was also watching a lot of museums from around the world, and in Europe a couple months, well, maybe almost a year ago, they were having climate control protests. And one of the protests that was going around is that they were defacing art in the museums by using like cans of soup and just throwing them at, you know, works of art to protest climate change. I'm still confused as to what throwing soup at art does for climate change, but maybe somebody can explain it to me. But that was just one of those things I thought was completely ridiculous, was that whole protest movement in Europe where people were defacing works of art in the name of climate control, or climate change rather. I also live near Buffalo, New York, and Buffalo has a lot of art museums and stuff. I went to the Albright Knox Museum when I was a little girl, and they had um, Mary Cassatt on display, I think, and she's famous for her mother and child paintings. And so seeing her works was really amazing. I'm kind of uncultured about things, and I remember my teacher had us write an essay about our visit, and I called the museum worker a museum worker and not a docent. So sometimes my lack of culture shows. I've had to learn words like curacao and charcuterie and other words that more refined people speak. And I had to learn to enunciate my words and stuff because a lot of times the area that I live in, we just kind of skip over our vowels and stuff. Like, look at those mountains. Mountain. Oh, goodness. I sure do try my best, though. But it's just interesting how things can be so different regionally. And I really like learning all about where you guys live because it's so neat to me. Like, Bonnie, your shorts, oh my goodness, they took my breath away just seeing that water and rocks. Or cliffs, rather. Maybe they're not cliffs, but they looked like cliffs to me. But it was just so beautiful. And Carrie walking around Tacoma, I love seeing it. Me either, Carrie. I'm definitely not all that refined. I'm a poor white girl from farmland, New York. A lot of people think New York is just New York City and it's all hustle and bustle, but it's not. The part of New York where I live in is very rural. Rural. And I live pretty close to the grape orchards of New York, so yes, if you guys haven't seen Miss Bonnie's shorts, please go check out her channel and Carrie's too. We are still under, I would say, probably 6 inches of snow. It won't clear up until probably, if I had to guess, we'll probably be getting snow, I would say, into early April. I'm about an hour and 20 minutes south of Buffalo. I live in the southwesternmost county in New York. Yes, westernmost county in New York. So I live, Erie, Pennsylvania is here. Erie, Pennsylvania is here. Buffalo's up here. Mary lives right about here. So if you put a triangle between Buffalo and Erie, I kind of live a little closer to Buffalo. Yep, Ross lives clear on the other side of New York. It would take me about I would say it would take me about 7 hours to get to Mr. Ross. Oh yeah, lots of trees. We have a lot of trees that lose their leaves in the fall. I think they're called deciduous, but I do not remember my fifth grade science at the moment. But where I live is one of the most beautiful places on earth. I know I might be highly prejudiced, but or biased towards the place I live, but I live right near the best of everything, especially in summer, because I live about 30 minutes from Lake Erie, so there's a beach. I live about 4.5 hours away from mountains. Live about, oh, I would say within an hour of two casinos, if that's your thing. Three casinos, really. If I had to pick my home casino, I would say it would be Seneca Allegheny. But I have not been to the casino in a hot minute. But I like Mr. Ross Says What's channel. Sometimes I watch him. And I like to see New York City too. It's so fascinating to me that there's so many people in such a small space. Yep, I'm close to the falls. I would say I'm about an hour 40 away from the falls. I used to like to drive up there just to sit for the day. It's so pretty. If you have never been there and you're on this coast ever, I would say go. There's actually a lot of waterfalls in New York, but of course Niagara is the biggest. But there's also Letchworth State Park, and they have 3 sets of waterfalls there. Um, I can't think of the one out back east further near Ithaca, but um, there's surprisingly a lot of waterfalls in my state that I never knew about. Okay, I know right where you're at. Well, not right where, but I know the general area. There's a channel I watch on here, Gen X Talks, and they're from Bakersfield. And I've been watching them for probably 4 years. But I've never been to California. I've always wanted to go at least once. My husband, when he was enlisted, was in California for a while. This is before he and I were together, but he talks about how beautiful it was. I plan on doing a lot more traveling just as soon as things work in that favor. Good water. Another useless fact about my city is that we were voted cleanest drinking water. I forget how long ago, but it's good water. Might not be the same now, but yep, I love my town. And part of what I love is getting to see other towns on YouTube. Like, I love to watch the Canadian channels, like Mr. Fro. I watch him just to see his town. I'd love to see where in North Carolina Lettuce lives because I used to live in North Carolina and I went to college there. And so I'm kind of curious where Lettuce lives, even though he won't say, and I don't want to bug him. But I like listening to him talk because it sounds like he sounds like a lot of my old friends. So I just like hearing different people talk in their accents and stuff. But, well, guys, I thank you for being here with me. I think I'm going to go lay down for a bit. Um, it's about 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. So I'm probably going to rest for a while, but I'm glad to see you guys. Thank you so much for stopping in. Please remember to hit the like button on your way out and subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate all the support you guys give me. You guys are the best. But I'm going to go for now. So thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Good night.